Okay, it's going now, and I can always chop out the beginning. But all right, so I'm gonna get into it. This right here is Voces Divisiones. This is the one-on-ones. These are a little more personal, but we get to know people on a personal basis, get to know their stories, their journeys, what they're up to. And on this episode, we have Rene Peña. I want, before I try to give an intro, I like to pass it over and just, just let us know, Rene, who you are, what you do nowadays, and then we'll go back and like dive into it. But yeah, just a quick intro: who you are, what you do, and what you're up to nowadays.
No, right on. Well, my name's Rene Peña Jr. I was born in Robstown, but I was raised in Banquete, so I can't really claim Robstown, but my set's Banquete, B-Town. I've done a bunch of things. I've been a business owner now for over 10 years, working for myself. I started, a cannabis company when the hemp law passed here in Texas. And I've been doing this cannabis company since 2019. It's been a long road. We've come a long ways from the kitchen days. Now we got a shop and a lab. But this is what we're doing. We're a full vertical integrated company. We grow, we develop genetics, and we make end product. So from seed to sell, we're the one-stop shop in Texas.
Nice. So, and real quick, you want to give us the name? What's the name of your shop again?
Okay, the name of the shop is Panacea. She's the Greek goddess of wellness and remedy. We decided to run that name as a tribute to my mother and her run with cancer and all the things that we developed, all the things that I learned while trying to save her. While trying to. When someone's dying, you try to figure out. We grew all kinds of veggies. We bought stuff from Mexico. You know what I mean? It was crazy. It's crazy. When you're in that situation and it's do or die, you'd go to the end of the earth to find whatever could help. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's kind of been the journey. The cannabis journey for us.
And how do you? And so it's Panacea.
Panacea. She's the Greek goddess of wellness and remedy.
Panacea. Oh, I love that. And so tell us a little bit more about that, like how you got into it. I know you just grazed over it right now. It having to do with your mom and her battle with cancer. So walk us through that. Like how did that go about?
So she got diagnosed in, I believe, 2013. And then it progressed in late 2014, 2015 to stage 4, and that's when it was all hands on deck. She had a couple of scares in the hospital. I was at the time living in the Woodlands, running an oil and gas service company that I had started in 2010. And it kind of her diagnosis coincided with the oil bust of late 2015 and 2016, which also coincided with my divorce. And so, mom got sick. I was going through a hell in Houston, trying to keep everything together because we couldn't catch any work. So, once we figured out we were gonna, I was gonna be getting separated, it was a no-brainer to move back, come back to my roots, start growing veggies for my mom. We started growing meats. We were raising cattle, raising hog, growing chickens, farming our own eggs. We went really on that health kick in 2016. We dove down. We were growing turmeric, growing, just about any vegetable you hear that has a cancer-fighting property. We grew it, and it kept coming back to cannabis. And my mom being a devout Catholic, and raising me always against the plant. They were very propagandized on marijuana. It was hard. The first 2 rounds of chemo and radiation, she didn't. She refused to use, and she went without eating for like a week, maybe a week and a half after the third round of heavy chemo and radiation, and she was basically dying of starvation, not cancer, at that time. And she finally broke. She finally broke. Broke in and gave in, and I had a cousin come bring her a joint because I was out of town, and she smoked and she ate right away, instantly. Got the munchies like never before. And even my dad was blown away that she was eating and she was smiling, and because they were both totally against it, they both raised me and my sisters, devout Catholics, as marijuana is the gateway to prison and murder and all that other bad stuff.
Yeah.
But it was big. It was big seeing my mom, actually embrace it after she tried it. You know what I mean? She grew up all her whole life thinking the worst about it, and then once she tried it, she figured out it was really nothing. Everything she had heard about it was false and a lie.
Mm. So how did you turn that into, like, did you already have something up and running, or how did you turn it into a business?
I had been, a little backstory. I had been growing cannabis since 2001. Like in high school, I was like every other Hispanic kid. We have somebody in the industry, a cousin, a primo, or whatever, slanging. So I had a cousin. He was moving weight, and I was in high school, didn't have a job, and he hooked me up with the QP. He's like, "Here, bro, throw me $80 in 2 weeks. See what you do with it." And after that, it was a no-brainer. I've been doing it. It was like my first business. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That's where I learned everything about business, and it was through cannabis. So in 2001, we had that 9/11. So after that, it got real scarce with cannabis. We weren't getting any cartel weed because the border was closed. And I had a bunch of seed. And, I'm fresh out of high school, and we have a bunch of property here in Banquete at the Rancho, and was by the creek we started growing, you know what I mean, where nobody knew. And we did that for a long time, you know what I mean, we did that for a long time. But once I got my corporate job, I kind of strayed away from all that, kind of left the scene, but until my mom got sick, and then that's when I started reading about cannabis as a medicine. And it's funny because I wrote, my freshman year in college, I wrote a paper on legalizing cannabis. It was part of my English class. We had to pick a subject, and I wrote in favor of it. And now I would have never guessed that I would be this deep into it. But now I get to extract it. I get to do a bunch of good stuff, make concentrates and stuff. So it's come full circle for me. It's been crazy. It's been a wild ride, but
so
definitely dove down when she was sick and read about RSO and how to extract the medicine off the plant. So those were some beneficial years. They were hard years, but they paved the way for where we're at now. So
like that, speaking of that, paving the way for where you're at now, I want to go back to one of the things I've been wanting to talk with you about is your knack for entrepreneurship, your knack for building things, creating like the entrepreneurial endeavors and diving headfirst into them and seeing them through. So how did you get into entrepreneurship? How did you get into like, um, starting to build things and create things? And can you give us a few examples of like endeavors that you like dove into?
It was basically the streets, man. The streets, if you really think about it, the streets are full of entrepreneurs. There's that people always think of, like your magnet, the guy that owns Amazon as this savvy business dude, as this, or the guy that owns Tesla as this, we anoint them as, the crown prince of business, but they're really not. They were just very fortunate and very lucky to build or to make it to where they're at. It took a lot of luck, you know what I mean? Because some of the smartest businessmen I've ever met have been in industries that you won't find on the Wall Street Journal. The guy that picks up metal, man, that guy is smart. You know what I mean? He's picking all that up for free.
Yeah.
It's nothing glamorous about it, but I mean that guy to me is a savvy businessman. Or the guy that owns the Goodwill. I mean, that's a savvy businessman. You're getting everything for free, and it's all not like a whole tax write-off, and you pay yourself $2 million. I mean, that's pretty savvy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Resourceful,
so,
huh?
Yeah, pretty resourceful. I mean, I wouldn't say from poverty, because I was raised middle class. My dad always had an amazing job and a career. My dad was educated, so I can't say I came from a broke family or a poor family, but I came from the struggle. You know what I mean? Just because we had a little change didn't mean that we went without or whatever. So I think it's the people from the struggle that change the world, that are the actual movers of the world. You know what I mean? Because most of those people that we now talk about all came from somewhere. You know what I mean? They didn't start at the top. But I really value, people I see doing things no one else is doing with nothing. You know what I mean? They don't have a big pot of gold, or they don't have investors, and they get it done. And that's kind of what Panacea is. It's the grassroots cannabis company, the guys that started from nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what we are. I like that. And work ethic, right? Like, because it don't matter what your background is, like, work ethic can level the playing field, because you'll have some people that are born at a certain starting point and others at other starting points. But, I mean, you can level that easily by, just sticking to it and working.
Right.
So,
it's the 3Ds, man: determination, dedication, and destiny. Those 3Ds work in the sports world, but they work in all realities. If you have the determination, the dedication, and the destiny, you're gonna reach your goal. You just can't quit. Yeah. I think that's what separates people who are visionaries but never get things done versus the people that have the vision but also have the drive to never stop, to turn the no into a yes, even if it's not today. Tomorrow you will say yes. That's always been a motto of mine. If you tell me no today, maybe tomorrow you tell me yes.
Yeah.
But it's my job to keep asking.
That's really great. And then it's like turning dreamers to doers, right? From separating, like, going from a dreamer to a doer. And I feel like I said this before, perseverance and persistence separates you from 90% of everyone, because that's why they say it's lonely at certain levels, but really it's because people tap out along the way. Like, people will take a mistake as a failure. It's only failure if you stop at that mistake. If you keep going, you literally just have to keep going. Like, just keep going, try the next thing, adjust, keep going. Like, and you see people all along the way that just tapped out on that path to their own destiny, and they just like right there on the side of the road. I'm gonna park here. And the only difference is that you just didn't stop. And they say you can't beat someone who never quits. Like, you can't. How can you beat them if they never tap out? They never quit. They're always going to come back. So I love that. I love what you just said, that with that determination, dedication, destiny. Now, when you were getting into, like, say, like starting Panacea and stuff, um, you talk about just getting into it and making it happen. Now, did you go for and as far as entrepreneurial endeavors, did you go to school for some kind of business stuff? How did you learn how to, like, start? Like, did you ever start an LLC or like a business? Like, how did
Yeah,
you learn that part of it?
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Panacea is not my first rodeo. Like I said, I started an oil and gas company. I worked for a large corporation, so that's kind of where I got my business school. Hands-on. I worked for one of the largest railroad carriers in the world, and I was responsible for like 25 million annually for them. So I got kind of like a Harvard business degree with them, figuring out how businesses budget and execute on the budget. That's really sets a small company. That really sets the difference, because most small companies usually will have a business plan and they'll have some type of budgeting, but they don't forecast. They don't really know how to set parameters to based off the market. Where the railroad had they were in existence for 100 years before I got there, so they had this all nailed down to a philosophy. They had SOPs on how things should operate. So I brought that background into my first business, my oil and gas service company, and I mean we excelled because I brought that kind of structural. That structural corporate mentality to the oil and gas. We were very successful up until the boom, up into 2016, when you couldn't even find anyone to give you some work. But yeah, that's I would say my tenure with corporate America is where I learned my business. My entrepreneurship, I think I was just born that way. I mean, I've always been, when I was a kid, I cut grass down my neighborhood. I picked up trash we only had one store here. At that time, I would pick up trash over there for, sodas and stuff. So I've always been doing stuff to make money, even as a kid. I was just born that way. But like I said, I think a lot of things that hold people back is the fear. The fear of not being accepted, the fear of maybe you're doing something that's never been done before. Stuff like that should never hold you back. It should be the wind in your sails. You should grab that fear. It's the people that harness the fear of what is everybody going to think of me. You turn that energy, that fear, into positive energy, and you're gonna go somewhere. You can't let that fear stop you, and I think that's especially in our community, that's a big deterrence, because we always think that no one's gonna like our food, no one's gonna like our clothes, no one's gonna like our art, no one's gonna like our products, because it's like for our community, for Hispanic community, it's already embedded in us. Kind of in the way society views us already. You know what I mean? I'm a dark Hispanic, so yeah. I grew up and I felt racism, and I felt growing up, people in school, you're the dark kid. People assumed that I was the dumb one, so I was really quiet in school, and I listened. And I was able to watch, and I'm very good at reading body language and feeding off emotions. So yeah, I all that has prepared me for where I'm at now. You know what I mean? And it's really on your, it's really in your losses that you gain knowledge and you gain, you know. So I think it's important for people to get told no a lot and run into failure a lot when you're young, because it helps you dealing with being told no and knowing how to react and how to change that into a yes is what's missing in a lot of us. You know what I mean?
Oh,
we get told no and we turn our, you know, we tuck our tail and we turn around and we quit, you know, for because of someone else's opinion. But the next guy might value what you do 10 times what you value it. You just got to find the right market, the right people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, right? Because we're so used to, like you were saying, like being raised with that inferiority complex, right? Everybody from the outside like beats us down, and then we start to beat each other down, and then like beat ourselves down, and then we start to like subliminally believe this stuff, and we don't take the risks, and we don't persevere, and, right? Because we're afraid of that judgment. We're afraid of them, of always feeling less than. But you have so many good points there, like also being observant, right? Stepping back and just observing a situation, and being able to like assess what's going on and learn from your surroundings, and then adjust and try again and try again. Like what you were saying about walking away with your tail tucked between your legs, and then that's it, you give up on something, right? Now it reminds me of this story about this, and there's memes about it too. It's kind of like this story about this miner, I think it was, who was like chipping away at their land, chipping away, looking for these jewels, right? Looking for this like gold or something, right? And they're chipping away, and then they stopped and they gave up. And no, this is a real story, right? There was this family, they were mining for gold, I think it was, and then they stopped. They're like, you know what? It's already dry. It ran out. Whatever. They sold all the equipment to this local like shop. The dude got it, and he was like, you know what? Let me use this equipment and go back to that mining place. Let me just try it. And they were just a few feet away from the entire stream of gold that was there. So it's like, the point of the story is like, you're only a few feet away, and you never know when that foot is gonna, you never know when you're gonna hit that, right? Your next swing of that hammer or that pickaxe could be the entire stream of jewels you've been looking for. It's right around the corner. You don't know what's gonna happen next. So go back and shoot your shot again. Go and try that other potential client. You know, go and, because you never know what's about to happen around the corner. And all you need, I think it was Mark Cuban who said, all I got to do is be right one time. Like, just one time. I'll try 50, 100, 200 times. All I got to do is be right once. Right? That's it. So then, like you, what gets you up? What keeps you going? What do you do it for? Like, what gets you up? Like, this is my mission, this is my purpose, this gets me going. Like, regardless of what you're doing at the time, what gets you up?
I mean, really, the deep, like, at its core, it's knowing that you help someone. I mean, there's no better reward.
Absolutely.
Money doesn't do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our businesses, we deal with sick people. You know, we deal with sick people, we deal with the elderly, we deal with people hurting. So being told that your thing helps,
it's providing that value.
You can't buy it.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, right, it's an exchange of value either way, because
well, it's beyond reward. You know what I mean? To know that someone that's feeling sick is smiling, or customer sends you pictures of their grandma laughing again, or sitting up, you know, in her hospice bed finally. These things, like I tell my customers, I will never tell you that I could cure anybody, but I can tell you I can help you. then I can help them. We can make them laugh, we can make them eat. But I will never tell anybody that we're going to save them, because that's not our mission. Our mission is to help people through their transitions. Because this really sad part about the industry right now for Texas is that most of my clients come to me when they're in hospice. It's too late, and we keep talking about, what if we started with this first? To me, that's what has to really change in this state.
So tell me a little bit more about what the benefits are, what you do, what you've uncovered, what you've seen, like, in your work, like, like, really what you're up to right now, So you have CBD options.
We're at the forefront, Bobby. We're developing. So what the market is currently going through right now is isolation. So cannabis in the last 2 to 3 years has been about isolating each cannabinoid, right? Making it to its purest form. But we, as a company, have already started to compound cannabinoids not found in ratios not found in nature. That's the forefront of medicine. That's where medicine is going to be at. In phytotherapies, sun-derived compounds, be it cannabis, be it psilocybin, be it any fungal compounds, any alkalines that are produced in fungi, compounded with cannabinoids and compounded with other phytos. That's the forefront of medicine. Like, we're revolutionizing medicine. People don't understand that cannabis is going to be, and we've already started the nutritional facts. But cannabis is going to be at the top of the nutritional pyramid. You're going to have a set amount of milligrams that the human should consume per daily diet, just like you do calories. This is all going to happen. This is like you won't hear anybody else say that, but I will say that because it's going to happen. We're making that happen because the facts are on our side. Our body has an endocannabinoid system. Every human, every mammal, everything that comes out of the water has this. So why would humans have a stomach if we weren't meant to eat? Why would we have an endocannabinoid system if we're not meant to consume cannabis? The plant mirrors humanity like no other plant. It's like the only plant meant for humans, or meant for mammals, not even just humans, all mammals, dogs, cows, you name it. Every animal you can think of, a warm-blooded animal, it has an endocannabinoid system. It's there for a reason. It's not just there because it's there.
And what are some benefits that you've heard from people that like, what have some people come to you for? Like examples of, like, they've come to you for with help with their appetite, help with
pain. Pain is a number one driver. People, the government has regulated opioids now. So the bad part is they got all these people hooked on these opioids that were making them feel worse instead of better. And a lot of them have been or now have problems with dealing with these opioids, but still have the pain. So a lot of these people that they turn on these opioids are coming on to hash oil and to high dose gummies to get that relief. I mean, it's the pain, and the way cannabis works on pain is that it helps alleviate the imbalance in hormone, and it lets your body start fixing itself, because your brain is the real healer. You know, there's not a compound on the face of the earth that can fix you. All it can do is help promote a hormonal exchange. That's what all pharmacology is. It's taking these chemical compounds, putting them in a pill, letting you eat it, and see how it affects your brain and what it does. And that's where the real curing happens, at the brain. It's there's no pill that you take that fixes you. It's your brain that does it. So cannabis helps the brain. You know, that's the number one reason. Cannabis helps the brain, and it helps everything because it helps you get hormonally balanced, and then your brain can start working on what's wrong with you.
Have you seen any?
Instead of trying to make you balanced, you know what I mean?
Have you seen any benefits with like anxiety, mental health,
Yes.
depression?
Yes, all this stuff, all the human ailments, and you won't hear this from a medical professional yet, but all human conditions, all human ailments are probably at the core. I would say at least 80% of them, cannabis deficiency. It's because you're not consuming enough cannabis. Is why you're diabetic and sick, and you know what I mean. A lot of it has to do with diet as well too. You know what I mean. We have in this country we have a bad diet. Cannabis is illegal. Psilocybin, for the most part, is still very illegal. But these compounds really are essential to human development, human health and wellness. And you'll see this change within the next 5 years. You'll see the whole medical industry change, because all the facade of the fossil fuel compounds, the reign of them are over, because the facts are on our side. You know, synthetic compounds, even synthetic cannabinoids, are not good for humanity, are not good for humans. They don't interface with the CV1 and CV2 receptors like natural compounds do. The natural compound is a lock and key mechanism, whereas the synthetic, because it's not produced by nature, doesn't quite fit the receptor, or doesn't antagonize the receptor as efficiently as a natural compound does.
Now, see, that's really great information to take into account. How do you go about getting the information out to people? How do you go about getting resources, like you as a resource, out to people, to at least like let them know what you know, pretty much?
Yeah, no. This is a big part of our business. It's education. It's getting the facts out there, and we do it via social media. I post white pages, like a lot of stuff I talk about. Sometimes, and I'm not a medical professional, and I've never gone to school formally. I only went my freshman year to college, so I got some chemistry, I got some English in me, but I don't have a huge medical background or whatever, but I read a lot of white pages. I read a lot of things about cannabis and how they interface in the brain, how they metabolize through receptors, and most people think I am a doctor or I am a scientist or whatever, but I'm not. I'm just Joe Blow dude from Banquete that tried to save his mom, you know what I mean? Found out all this shit, and now they can't stop me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just how it worked out.
So what are you up to now? What's next? What's next for Panacea? What's next for you all as an organization? What do you have coming up?
Well, we're developing new genetic lines for cannabis. That's something I really enjoy doing, because that'll keep us at the front, at the mainstay. That's our long run, developing new lines, new product lines, and with the small bit of success, we're making the capital, because it takes our work, but we're developing the capital it's going to take us into a mainstream, full, licensed, FDA-approved facility. I mean, this is our goal. Even though I have issues with CDC and FDA to validate my work, these people are the governing bodies, so I have to play by their rules, and we're ready to make that jump. You know, there's we're ready to change Robstown's. I guess it's what it's known for. You know, it's known as a drug haven or where people would get marijuana, but now it's going to be known for where the best marijuana comes from, where the cleanest medicine is being manufactured. We have gummies in legal states. They come from Robstown, that are being made in Robstown. There's gummies in California, Oregon, Washington, New York, Florida that came out of that little town. You know, that it's almost unfathomable to think. You know what I mean? That a little place in Texas could have such a huge impact on an industry with someone at the helm who's never been. Who's never lived in a legal state, you know, who never moved, who never tried to do something somewhere else, because it was never advantageous for me to move to California or Colorado to go do this, because people here need this, you know what I mean? If they need it over there, we need it over here too, and I love my area, I love living here, I love being a part of South Texas, Corpus, Robstown, Alice, Paquete, Kingsville. There's no other place like this in the world. I love to visit everywhere, but this is where I want to live. This is where I want to grow cannabis for the rest of my life. And as long as I'm able to do that, I'll die a happy man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So, lastly, it's a two-part question. What do you say to someone who is currently maybe wondering about cannabis, wondering about the benefits, wondering if they could benefit from it, them or their loved ones? What do you say to someone that's thinking about that and thinking about where to go next, like looking for information? And what do you say to someone who is a budding entrepreneur, like somebody wants to step out of the box and get something done and start something, but kind of has doubts about it? So that's a two-part question. What do you say to somebody interested in cannabis and then entrepreneurship?
With upcoming future patients, do your research, know your body. Make sure when you start, if you do end up wanting to start cannabis, start small portions, small doses. Make sure that you take baby steps into cannabis, because the worst part about companies who make high dose products is that there's no introduction into them, and what happens is people take a very potent edible, have a bad experience, and then are turned off by cannabis forever. And that's kind of something we want to limit as an industry, all in all. But for an upcoming entrepreneur who wants to get into any business, first key to success is know the rules of engagement. Read all the laws that pertain to your industry, to pertain to your business. If you're not up to speed on regulation, what the laws are, how you can, where you see your business within those confines, do not start a business. You know, you got to know the rules of engagement. Second part for an entrepreneur coming into any game is make sure you can hedge your risk. Make sure that whatever you're coming into, however it's got to be, that you minimize your risk in you know, not losing funds, not losing equipment. So risk management's always big in starting a company. You got to know those confines before you get going, because you're going to fall in the trap if you're not minimizing the risk. So it's and lastly, for an up and comer, is it's never how do I say this? It's never. It's never about the money. If you're gonna start a business and you're waiting on the money, don't even start the business, because it's never about the money. It's the money should never make you start the business, or the money should never be the reason why you never started the business. It should be on you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people think, well, I don't have the money right now to do that. And I don't have the money right now to do this, or if I had the $200,000, I would do it right now. But I didn't have anything. I started this company with $50 and the $300 prepaid credit card in 2019. That's what I started this business on.
Wow.
And, I mean, now we're probably, if we were doing an evaluation with property and stuff, probably looking at a good $1.5 million of total equity in the business.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, and it's just about perseverance. It's not about the money. Everybody always tells me I'm going to do it when I get this money or I get my income tax. No, you're not going to do it, because if that's what's holding you back, then you're not going to do it. Because the money should never hold you back, or it should never be the reason why you're doing it. You know what I mean? If those are your reasons, then it's going to fail. If you're going to do something, you have to do it because you want to do it, not because you have the money to do it or because you're waiting on the money to do it. If you really wanted to do it, you're going to do it. You know what I mean? When you did your first art piece, nobody prepaid you for that art piece. You did it because you wanted to do it. You went to Hobby Lobby, bought your shit, and said, fuck it, I'm going to do it. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
You weren't waiting on no money, and you know what I mean? That's the one big thing I hear the most about people is the fear and not enough money to get it going. I don't have the money. It's not about the money, man. The money is never the issue.
Oh yeah, no.
This would be, I guess, my tagline. Money is never the issue, and it's never the solution to your business. You know,
that's
to
great.
your problems. It's about you. You got to turn back and look at you and say, are you fucking willing to go through the hardest of times to get to the end? And if you're willing to do it, you're going to get there. Regardless of money, regardless of who hates you or what they said or who said what, if you're really willing to go through the fire to get there, you go there. It's a mentality.